Hi guys, Darren from Venom Fluid Art here. Hopefully you've just watched The Joy of Pouring with Cy Frost. If you happen to miss it, there'll be a link in my description so you can go back and watch it at your leisure. Now, what I'm going to do today is show you the difference between when you do a swipe on a pillow that's already been spun right out compared to one that isn't. So what we have here is an 8-inch MDF round. Now that's about 12 mil thick. I've got the pillow paint down and that is spun right out. There is like zero movement in that whatsoever. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll do a loaded palette knife swipe because they're a lot of fun. Now, what we're going to do is grab our palette knife. I'll stick that there so you can see it. What we do is put down the cell activator first. Now, this is Amsterdam Titanium White that's going to be on here. So we'll put that down like so. Spread that out a little bit. It would sort of help if them palette knives were level, but they're not. But it's the only way I can do it and video at the same time. So what we're going to do is put down some Hustle by this little piggy that I've messed around with, so it's not actually the same as it should be. This one sparkles in the light. Don't know whether you can see that, but where I'm standing, it definitely does. So we'll throw that down first. Then we can use, what colour should we use? I might go a Submarine by this little piggy that I've interfered with again. So that one is a lot brighter than the standard Submarine. I've neoned it up a little bit. So it actually lights up under a black light when you check it. Pretty cool. Then we might go with some Funk by this little piggy. Put some of that on. And what else shall we use? I have a Sky Blue that I've messed around with as well. So, where's that on? So we'll put some of that on. That will do. Then what I'm going to do is grab some Amsterdam Lamp Black cell activator and just put a little bit on the bottom too. Okay, now then, before I lose all my colours off that because it's not quite level, we'll move this across to where you can see it again. Alright, so we'll do a swipe. Like so. How good are the cells in that? Love it. Wow. pretty. Anywho, what we'll do is, I'll grab my little skewer, as I always do, and we'll just have a little bit of a play around the edges. Just for a bit of fun. Because you know I can't help myself. Just put some little patterns through in certain places. Just for fun. I've dropped a bit of paint in there. Nice job, Daz. Fish it out. Yay! Almost sounded like Just a Muppet then. Don't know how that's possible, but I did. Okay. So, sorry if I'm coughing a little bit. It's probably Rona. Then again, probably not, but who knows. What we're going to do is spin that out. So remember, that pillow is already spun right out. There's like no movement. So the only thing that's going to move is the colours I've put on the top. So we'll stick that down there. I'll just clean off some of this drip. Alright, we're going to go dead centre. What I usually do is spin it slowly, see where the high spot is. Drag it down a little bit more. That's pretty close. So we'll go with that. We'll give that a spin. Okay, go back the other way. So there should be hardly any movement because there really wasn't that much paint I put down on the actual palette knife, and there wasn't any movement in the pillow. So what you usually put down is pretty close to what you're going to get at the end of it. It might fatten a little bit, but nothing overboard. It's a cool trick for when you want to put a pattern in there without spreading it too far, so you've got a lot of negative space. That's pretty much what I do when I'm messing around and want negative space. I'll already spin the pillow out and go from there. That way I know things aren't going to move. If they do move, it's very, very minimal. And it makes life so much easier. You know, like when you do a bloom and you first blow it out and it looks absolutely amazing and you're like, how cool is that? And then when you spin it out, all the cool stuff disappears. Same thing. If you've got your pillow paint spun out first, things still move, but nowhere near as much. Okie dokie. So that is the end result. I got a little bit fatter. As you can see by the amount of paint that come off on the spinner. Not much at all. Alright. So that one there is the first one we do. Always scrape the bottom. Make sure there's no drips, because there still will be drips no matter what. Like, where's the camera? There it is. Like so. So yeah, you still get drips. Not as many this way. So that works out pretty good. And you don't use very much paint at all doing it this way either. Which is a bonus. if you're working on a budget. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here. We're going to grab another round and we're going to do it a different way. Okie dokie. So, same again, MDF round, 12mm thick, which is roughly half an inch. Going to put the pillow paint down, which is British Paint Slow Sheen. It's pretty much all I use for a pillow because it's very, very good quality paint. You can stretch it and it doesn't break up. It's pretty much the perfect consistency straight out of the tin. And I absolutely love the stuff. It's very, very rare that you'll ever get this stuff to crack. So that's why I love it. You can actually leave a fair bit of this on the actual round or canvas or whatever you're doing, and it doesn't seem to crack up. Well, it hasn't for me yet anyway, so. Okay, so pillow paint's down. I'll move that out the way a bit. What we'll do is grab the palette knife, if I can find where I put it. There it is. Okay, so we'll start with the same thing again. We're going to put down the cell activator, which is your Amsterdam titanium white. Now that's just mixed with water. You want to see how it's done, what results you get. Video number 86 is what you look for. And it explains it all there for you. Right. Where's my little doobie lacquer? There it is. Found it. Crisis averted. Now, we'll put the modified hustle down first, as we did with the other one. Actually, if I get tricky and prop that, ha ha! Look at that, leveled it up. What a genius! I know, right? Okay, submarine. And this time we're putting more colour down and more pillow. So things are definitely going to move around. So what have we got next? Funk. And the sky blue. Alright, so that's definitely heaps more paint this time. Okay. So, if I can hold that, move that, use one hand to grab that so you can see where I'm going without spilling all the paint off, I'm doing well. Okay, move that so you can see it. About there. Alright, so there's the loaded palette. And we'll do a swipe. Alright. Wipe that one off. Same again, you get instant cells, instant lacing. It's pretty cool. Grab my little skewer, mess with it like we did the other one. Now you'll notice when you've got a thicker pillow down, or more pillow paint I should say, rather than thicker, you can actually drag your colours a lot further than when there's no real amount of pillow paint there. So on the really thin one, it makes it hard to move your colours around, so you can only move short little distances. Whereas when you've got heaps of pillow down, you can really move things around a hell of a lot. It's like for when you do your little scoop and drags and things like that. If you've got a fair bit of pillow paint down, you can actually drag it quite a fair distance, like this. So, scoop in underneath, drag it around. So you can do all sorts of cool, trippy things and what have you. Okay, now I've got dry edges here at the side of the board. And if I just spin that out now, as that paint flows out, it's going to roll over on top of itself, which you don't really want. You want it to just slide. So what we'll do is grab a bit more pillow paint, put it around the edge like that. Get my messy little paint finger, perfect tool for the job. Stick some paint around this outside edge. Just to wet it. Like so. I also like to wet the edges of the board so that as the paint flows off the top, it tends to stick to the side of the board rather than it spinning all over the place. So brush some of that down on the sides. Now I don't prep MDF rounds. I sand the edge, which closes the grain off in the MDF. Even though it's not real wood, it still has a grain, where all the layers of paper have been glued together. Because that's what your medium density fiberboard is. Same thing they make kitchen doors out of, bathroom vanities, all that sort of thing. Well, the bathroom vanities, they use MR board, which is moisture resistant. Same thing, it's MDF, but it has other little additives to it that makes it moisture resistant. Also really good for doing paint pouring on because it doesn't soak the water in or paint. But it's a hell of a lot more expensive. So just keep that in mind if you want to make your own MDF rounds. If you use the MR board, it's water resistant, but pricey. It's like triple the price of normal MDF. But super cool. And it actually looks green. So that's how you tell the difference between normal MDF and MR board. There you go. You're learning something today. How good is that? Alright, so we're going to put that down in the centre. I just blinded myself with the LED light. Nice job, Daz. I know, right? Alright, so we'll get that as close to centre as possible. That looks pretty good. I'm only going to go slow like I did with the other one. And we'll see how far this one spreads out. So go that way first. Go back that way. I like to go forward and backwards when I do spin things out. Here's why. as this spins this direction, the paint wants to throw out to all the outside edges evenly, especially when it's dead center of the board. Okay? So as that spins and the paint's getting thrown out, it'll actually crawl this way. If you look at the cells, if you draw a straight line through it, spin it out, you'll watch the line curve in the opposite direction of the way you're spinning it. Because you have a force going that way as it spins, so that paint wants to turn. So if you do little bit by little bit, you can actually do a perfectly straight line and spin it right out, dead straight. Takes a bit of practice, but you can do it. So that's why I spin both directions. If you're curious, have a crack at home. It'll blow your mind. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Spun quite a bit off. Can't see any more coming off down the sides, so that's pretty good. Pop that up. We'll give you a closer look. Now, you can see just how much that's spread right out across the whole board now. That's from just using more paint and more pillow paint. So if you want things to spread right across the whole surface, use more pillow, use more paint. And you can see the amount of paint that's come off onto the spinner compared to last time. So, but yeah, there's a cool couple of tricks for you. So that's that. And you know what? I think I'll pause that here. We'll do a bloom with hardly any pillow. Okie dokie. We're going for a threefer. That is it. A threefer. What we're going to do is throw the pillow paint down. So, like a wooded normal bloom. Usually leave a bit of a gap at the edge. That way as it spins out, it all goes over the edges. What we're going to do is spin that out. So you want it in the center. There's the center. About there. Bit more this way. Close enough for what I'm doing. Alright, so we'll spin that out. Stick your finger on the edge. That way you know it's coating the edge of the board as you go. If you don't like the feel of paint, or you're allergic to it, wear gloves. Safest thing to do. Alright, so that's spun out. There's the camera. So there, you got no movement. It's spun right out. You could sit that there, let it dry, and there's no way on earth it'd crack. So, what we're going to do is scrape off some of this paint that we've spun off. Like that. Scoop off around the edge and underneath. Like that. Get all them drips. Alright. Actually, I'll leave that up there. Now, we'll do a bloom. with a very, 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 very thin pillow paint and see how it turns out. How cool is this going to be? Does it work? Who knows? Alright, where is my little stick gone? Good question. There it is. I found it. I'm hopeless at losing things and it's right under my nose. Right, we'll start with some hustle, which is normal everyday hustle. This one hasn't been messed around with. That's just normal everyday basic hustle. Whereas this one has been messed around with. So this one actually has violet and things like that in it, so it chops and changes colour in the light. That one doesn't. So what we'll do is put down some submarine, I think. Now when you're using pigments and they've been sitting a while, it pays to stir them up because the pigment falls out of suspension and sits in the bottom of your cup. So make sure you scrape that all off the bottom, mix it right in. The only problem is you're going to get bubbles back in your paint like that. But no big deal, you can always pop them. You can use a little hairdryer. I use a butane torch. You can pop them with your end of your skewer, entirely up to you. We'll use some funk. And I'm going to put down my modified hustle. So you get some shimmer and sparkle. Because who doesn't like shiny stuff? Nobody said that ever. Alright, what else we got? Sapphire blue. Put a bit of that down. Can go with some Artist Loft. Man, this gets me every time. I can never remember the name of it. It's green. My brain's programmed for piggies. But it is green, so we know that much. We might go with some imitation show pony, which is groovy that I've modified. Don't know whether you can see that, but groovy usually doesn't do that. Might go with a little bit of lemon sorbet. Put that around there. blue? Where's my blue? Okay. Some of this down. Which is a modified version of Lakeside. More sky blue. Put down some more neon submarine. Now, I'm going to do something a little tricky. I'm going to put down on top of that some white cell activator. Might move it more into the center. So that's just your paint moving. There's no actual pillow movement. Alright, so this is your Amsterdam cell activator. It's like, what are you doing, Daz? I know, right? Now that's going to sink into them colours. In the centre, I'm going to put a little dot of Inferno. A little bit of Pebeo green yellow. And then there'll be black cell activator going on top. But if you mix up some interference colour, this one's interference violet by Pearlex. If you put that down first, then put the black cell activator over the top, your black cell activator will change colour. It gets all sparkly shimmers and things like that through it. Don't know whether you can see that already, but the edges of the black have already turned purple. Do that quick torch. Should have done that before I put the cell activator down because it's sinking pretty quick. Oops. Get the mini blower. See what happens. Now I like to just fluff the cell activator out bit by bit. Alright, what we'll do is leave that like that. I'm going to move this further this way. That centre hasn't come up yet, so we'll leave that for a minute. Grab a straw, give it a blow. If there's colour underneath it, cells will pop up. If there's no colour underneath, it won't. See if we can get them to pop up. Maybe, maybe not. Move that a little bit. Now, grab my trusty skewer. Make some pretty patterns. Now, I could have put more cell activator on here and blew it out. No big deal. I would have got cells here. But I know if I offset the center of this on the spinner, I can make everything move this way anyway. Plus I like the fancy pattern, to be honest. And you can drag bits from there. Through here. You can drag yellow bit into there, make a cool little pattern. Okay, so that's what that looks like before we spin it out. So we throw this down. Now I want all the paint to move that way, so I'm moving it over that way a little bit. I'm only going to go real slow. Couple of turns and you'll see it start to move, which it is. If you want, you can go in, change up a few little bits and pieces. You can drag bits and pieces down. Like that. I think we might move that more into the center now, which is roughly there somewhere. Close. Don't go too fast, otherwise you start to distort all your cells. You'll notice different coloured paints if the consistencies aren't all identical and you've got one that's a little bit thicker than the others. I'll pop it up and I'll show you. This colour here, because that was thicker, the thinner paint has gone around that colour. See how it starts to distort the centre of your bloom? That's where it pays to have all your consistencies identical, so you don't get things like that happen. Okay, give it a bit more of a spin. Now if you wanted to leave negative space around the edges, just don't put as many colours down as I have. Or go nuts. Entirely up to you. Got something dropped in it. Probably the paint off my hand. So now I've made that mess there. So I'm just going to drag some other colours through it. For giggles. Looks pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to leave it at that because you don't have all day to sit and watch me. We've got Christy from Creations by Christy up next. I got it right, Christy. So if you click on her name in the description, it'll take you directly to her YouTube channel. The first video that pops up, click on it, that'll be the premiere. That way you can keep on riding on the crazy train today. Now see that black cell activators actually turn purple in the light? How cool is that? Ring lights. Gotta love ring lights. Really? Okay. That's it for today. Yeah. Go visit Christy. I'm sure she will have something absolutely amazing. We should have Britt back this week. And Lance. Sheldon's up after Christy, I think. So, keep on riding the train. Have a bit of fun. And enjoy your day. Alright guys, don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Ring the notification bell. That way you get to see all my videos as they are released. And you have a wonderful day. Have fun, take care, and bye for now.